Hi friends, it's Amber of A Lovely Yarn Podcast, and today is Monday, July 17th. Can you believe it? It's only been a week since I posted my last episode, and I'm back, and I'm excited to be back. I don't have I have plenty to talk about, but typically I feel like I need to wait until I have all kinds of projects to share with you guys, and today I have 5. Some that I've talked about in the past, and a couple that are brand new. Actually, one that's brand new, and one that I haven't talked about for months, and I'm resurrecting this project. So it is Monday morning for me. It's like not even 9 o'clock in the morning, so this is earlier than what I usually podcast. But I just thought, I kept thinking, so I woke up this morning, had my coffee, did my Bible reading, all of that, and I kept thinking, I really want to film an episode, but it's still so early. And so I did some knitting. I watched an episode of somebody else's podcast, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I actually didn't even make it through the whole episode. I will finish it later, but let me show you. I don't typically drink anything while I'm filming, and I don't typically share what I'm drinking, but I just want to show you this cute mug. I've shared this on my Instagram account in the past. So I am I just have such a weakness for handmade pottery. Look how cute this is. And so when we travel places, I'm always on the lookout for it. I've talked about that before because my kids are like, Mom, we don't have any more room for any more mugs, which is true. But I just, look how, this is just so adorable. And I don't even remember, I cannot remember where Brad and I picked this up. It was, I think within the last 3 years, I found this. I actually can envision the shop and the other things that were in it. I just cannot remember where we were. It wasn't in the state. It was out of the state. I don't know. I should start marking the bottom because you could write on there because it's just, yeah. But anyway, so I'm having another coffee. I already had one. This is just decaf. It's just 2 shots of decaf espresso and a little bit of honey and water over it, which is what I typically drink. I guess you could say I'm a coffee purist. So I really like the taste of coffee, and my husband roasts our coffee beans, so he really much has learned over the years to fine-tune them to our specific preferences, and we both like dark roasted coffee. So it's just, when I drink a cup of coffee, I will sometimes do it with like more milk, but often I just want to taste the deliciousness of the coffee. Yeah. Okay. So first up, I just want to touch briefly on the Pine Creek crop that I talked about last week, because you guys were so helpful and gave me so much insight regarding that project. I have not done anything with it yet. Honestly, whenever I talked to you last, I was planning on just ripping this out because in the past, anytime that I've persevered through a project that I wasn't crazy about or I wasn't getting good feelings about, I ended up not wearing it. And then I would end up either frogging it after it was completely finished, or it just sits in my drawer, or it sits in the knitting bag and it doesn't even get taken out of the knitting bag. I have one right now currently that's like that. So what you guys had suggested with this, because my concern was for those of you that are maybe just tuning in for the very first time, which welcome to everybody. But it's really large. It's maybe perfect right now, but because this is all lace, it's definitely going to stretch when I block it. So I was concerned about that. I knitted a size 3, which was the size that my measurements, my bust measurements indicated I should knit, and I did get gauge. I actually was a good girl and I checked gauge and all that for this one. I think in my head, if there's a project that looks like it's going to require a lot of commitment, for instance, this very large lace yoke, I am definitely more inclined to knit a gauge swatch because I just feel like there's more at stake. So yes, anyway, I was thinking I'm ripping this out, and then the majority of you, there were some people that were like on team rip it out, and which I totally understand, because their whole point was, if you don't like it, you're not going to wear it, and you can take that beautiful yarn and use it for something else, which that was my thought. That was my thought last week when I was podcasting. But then the majority of people were saying, block it. Put it on the barber cords, which, thank you. I guess those little plastic, like rubbery plastic cords that you can put on to try your knitting on. Those are called, one of the names are called, it's called barber cords. That's what I thought, but I couldn't remember for sure. But they said put it on barber cords and block it out and see how it is then. And then several more people recommended finishing the neckline, then blocking it. And I thought, well, that is a really good idea. So the plan is to finish this neckline, and then I will put it on the barber cord or scrap yarn or something. I don't honestly think I have barber cord that's long enough to go the whole way through this. So I'll probably put it on scrap yarn, and then I will block it out, and then I will make the caul. I really don't have anything to lose because I have so many hours invested in this already. So, I mean, it's worth just putting on a neckline and going from there and just giving it a block. And then if it doesn't work, I'll rip it out, and that's okay. It's okay. Like I said last week, I'm not gonna stress out about it. I'm not. I still learn. Even when we have to rip projects out, we still learn things, right? Like, this is probably the most involved lace that I've ever done. I just heard Diana from the Fruitful, what's the name of the podcast? Fruitful Hands, Fruitful Knitting. I'm sorry, guys, if you're watching. It just slipped my mind. The Fruitful Hands. Anyway, I was just watching her talk about her Salty Air tea, which is also by Samantha Gurin, who wrote this pattern, if I didn't mention that. And she said that the lace on that particular pattern was very intuitive, and you could, I don't know that she said she memorized it, but she definitely said it was like, it wasn't hard. Like, once she got the hang of it, it just, like, it was fairly easy. I cannot say that about this because I had to read the chart the whole time. It was slightly intuitive, but I definitely couldn't just like read the knitting and just know what to do. I had to actually read the chart, and it was a chart and a half for my size. So this was pretty involved lace. So that is what I'm going to do. Just wanted to give you guys an update, and thank you so much for all of your insight. You guys really pulled through for me with that, and just I asked for help and you guys delivered. And yeah, and oh, by the way, if you didn't know, and I don't think I mentioned it, this is linen quill in the color honey pink. That is what I am knitting this in. And I've only used, so far for all of this, I've used one skein. So, like, I literally just have that bit left with this. Yeah. And I have 3 skeins of it. I don't anticipate, if I do end up finishing this, I probably will only need to use the second skein. Okay, so that's what's going on with my Pine Creek crop. Okay, before I get into my next set of whips, I want to talk about, guys, I can tell that it's humid because my hair is starting to frizz. Anyway, before I get into my next whips, I want to talk about a project that I'm pretty sure, yes, I spoke of it last episode, because it had just released that day. And I said I was going to be casting it on, and I did. I casted it on and bound it off last night. And it is the Summer Camp Kerchief by so-and-so, designed by so-and-so, designs by so-and-so. So here it is. It is still actually quite damp. I even yesterday, I thought I really want to film a podcast episode Monday morning. So I really wanted to get this done. Now, I love this pattern. Okay, so this pattern, I will put a picture here because I want you guys to see the different, there's three different ways that you can knit this. She gives you 3 variations of this particular pattern, and I thought when I started I'm going to do the 3rd version, which has the most eyelet rows in it, and then I thought no, I actually like the 2nd version better, which has less eyelet rows. So I started with that, and then I realized that I was just going to do my own thing. Which is what I ended up doing. So, and the reason I decided that is because I am not using the recommended yarn, and I'm not even using the recommended yarn weight. So this pattern is written for fingering weight yarn. She uses the Knitting for Olive pure silk. I wanted to just cast this on, and I also, if you've been watching for a while, you know that I really try hard to knit from my stash. So I got into my cotton stash because I wanted, you know, the Knitting for Olive pure silk is 100% pure silk. It's a very light, airy yarn, and I wanted this kerchief to be something that I could wear in the cooler evenings, mornings of summer. I mean, I'll wear it other times too, but I wanted a summer yarn kerchief. So I found, I found this Cascade Yarns Ultra Pima. I've had this for probably, I think I've had this since before I was even a knitter, when I just crocheted, and that's, so it's been a long time. I've had this a long time, and it's 220 yards per 100 grams. It is considered a sport weight yarn, I think. I mean, it's not super thick. Let me put it up against a fingering weight. So you can see. Can you see that? It didn't look like there was much of a difference. So I thought I'm going to give this a shot because I already have it, and I really was anxious to cast on this pattern. And I don't even know if you can get this. There's not a colorway name on it, but it's like a very light dusty sage, I would say. So I casted this on, and I basically knit it in 3 days. Let me show you. I have not woven my 2 ends in yet because, like I said, it's still damp. I typically block and then weave ends in. But the reason I ended up modifying the pattern was because as I was working on this, I was realizing that this was knitting up a lot larger, or at least, maybe I shouldn't say a lot. It was definitely knitting up larger than what the samples looked like. When I was looking at the sections of stockinette, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be way bigger, and I didn't want anything huge. It's still bigger than what I was imagining it to be. It's beautiful. The camera is doing some sort of weird movement. Must be the yarn. But this yarn is very nice. It's Pima, so it has a nice, I guess this is, Pima is considered a very high quality, luxurious cotton. And it has a very nice sheen to it, as you can see there. Which I'm honestly not typically a big person that likes sheen to my yarn or to my garments, but I used to be even less so. Now it doesn't bother me as much. But anyway, so this is meant to be worn like a kerchief, a neck kerchief, and you can see it is big. It is big because, so hold on. So this is basically, you can wear it this way and just tie it in the back. That feels actually nice and cool because it's damp and it's already really hot and humid here. Or you can, several of her sample or her test knitters, when they took their pictures, they had it tied in the front. And again, mine is way bigger than what theirs were because the yarn. So they had it like this, which this is actually how I wanted to wear it, but then with the size of it, I was like, I don't think I care for this. You know, if it was a little bit smaller and the yarn wasn't so bulky, it made a bulkier fabric than what it should, and which makes total sense, because if you are using 100% silk that's a fingering weight yarn and then you switch to a sport weight cotton, it's definitely going to be bulkier. Your fabric is. So, give you a close-up. I like it. It's just, it didn't turn out exactly how I thought. So I'm still, what I'm doing is I'm trying to decide if I want to go ahead and order some of the pure silk, or if I want to try to find something else, like a cotton linen blend, or, you know, I just want something fingering. Now I have lots of fingering weight yarn. Like here's a whole basket full of fingering weight sock yarn. So that is not the issue. It's the content. It's the yarn content. All of the fingering weight yarn I have is wool. So I want to make a lighter weight summery fabric. I really want to order some pure silk, but I'm like, you guys know my brain. If you've been watching me, again, like, you know my brain. I'm like, can I use something I have? I actually looked online at my local yarn shop, which is Yarns by Design. It's like a 45-minute drive for me, so it's not super local, but it's the closest one that I have. I looked on there to see if they had any yarns that would work, because the problem with ordering one ball of pure silk, which runs anywhere between $12.50 a skein to $13.50 a skein, or $14 a skein, and that's for like 230 some meters, I think. But the problem with ordering one ball is that I have to pay shipping, which is coming out to like $7-8. So then all of a sudden this skein of yarn becomes like a $20 skein of yarn. And if I was ordering more, then that would, maybe I could justify that. But to order one ball and have to pay that much shipping just kind of is not something I want to do. So I got onto Yarns by Design's website, hoping they would carry, I knew they didn't carry Knitting for Olive, but I was hoping that they would carry something that would be similar that I could substitute in and just like run there and get. Although honestly, now that I say that, with the cost of gas, it might actually work out to be the same. Like to pay for shipping or to pay for gas to run 45 minutes one way to the yarn shop. It just feels like more responsible to buy it from a yarn. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't see anything on their website. I don't know if they have all of their stock on their website, but I didn't see anything. So that I don't think is going to be an option. I really do. I should just order the pure silk because I really want to try it. I really do want to try it. They also have, Knitting for Olive also has a cotton merino blend. It's 70% cotton and 30% merino. And that was also, it's fingering weight as well. So that was also another thing that I was considering, but I really don't want to, I just want to knit with a summer yarn. I don't want to have any of the wool in it for this particular piece. So I should just probably order. So I've looked at, it is available here in the United States from multiple smaller yarn shops that I can order online. And, most of them carry the same colors. I do follow Knitting for Olive on Instagram, and I saw that they just released this beautiful bright red color, and I cannot remember what it's called, but it is so pretty. And I'm definitely not a real bright person when it comes to my knits, but I do like pops of color. And so I was envisioning this really bright red. It's like more of a tomato red. It's kind of like, if you're familiar with the Purl Soho linen quill and their poppy colorway, it's that bright, vibrant red. So I thought that would actually be really fun. I feel like that'd be really fun. And sometimes I just like to knit something more for the fun than the practicality of it. You know, I'm a very practical person, I feel like, but I also like to just do spontaneous fun things too. So, but that color was just released, so I'm pretty sure I can only order that directly from Knitting for Olive, their website, which I think they're based out of Amsterdam, and they do ship worldwide. So that is an option for me. I'm still thinking about it. This is what I do anymore. I used to be very frivolous with my yarn purchases, but I am not anymore. So I usually take a long time to think about things before I actually pull the trigger on them. So, but all that to say, I do love this pattern a lot. I will knit more. I think this would be awesome. If you know somebody that would be interested in wearing like a neckerchief, this is this would definitely make a great gift knit, because it is so quick and it is it's not a huge time commitment. Yeah, I really like it. I'm actually, even though I just bound it off last night, I'm actually really looking forward to knitting another one, which was another reason why I was like, maybe I'll just drive to the yarn shop and buy a skein, because then I can just cast it on right away and I don't have to wait for it to be delivered. So yes, that is my summer camp kerchief designed by so and so. Okay, my next thing, I'm not going to talk about all my projects because I haven't really, like my pebble shawlette, I haven't worked on that since, I have not worked on that at all since I last podcasted, because I had the kerchief and then I have another project that I've been working on. Okay, I did put a little bit more work on my Hermione's Everyday Socks. This isn't super exciting to show you guys because it's a sock, but I just want to say, I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to put this project away and not talk about it anymore. But if you are looking for a really nice textured sock pattern that you can memorize, I love this pattern. Like I said before, I've made so many pairs of this particular pattern. And it is a free pattern, so that is also very nice. I just love, and this is a Knitter's Homestead in the Cupid's Dark colorway for the main color, and then this is just this Belle pink. That's actually, I don't think that's the name of it. I don't know the name of this because this came as part of a mini skein set that I ordered off of River. So all of this yarn that I'm making these socks in is from a Knitter's Homestead. But that's all I'm going to show you. But I just want to show you that because I just want to say, check this pattern out. What do you have to lose? It's free. It's a free pattern. So if you don't like it, you didn't lose any money out on it, right? And I think it is, I'm trying to remember. I don't even have it printed out because it's so easy. I have it memorized. But I'm thinking it has just one size to knit. So I think it's like a 64 stitch cast on. You could figure out how to adjust that. It's a 4-stitch repeat. What I do is I just use a different needle. So like I'm knitting these for me and I have very narrow feet. So I'm using size 0. But if I were to knit these for someone with larger feet, I would go up to like a size 1.5 or 1, you know, I mean, you could add or subtract 4-stitch repeats as well. So, but I've made this as a gift knit for multiple women in my life, and I just always change it by varying the needle size. And because, I mean, it is stretchy. See, it's a stretchy pattern because it is purls and knits. So yeah, But anyway, just wanted to reiterate how much I love that pattern and recommend it. Definitely recommend that pattern. Okay, next thing I want to show you guys is my third ranunculus. And it's right here. Did I even have this casted on last week? I don't think I did. So you're going to see what I'm talking about when I say that I just fly through this particular pattern when I make it. I'm loving keeping my notes, my knitting notes in my notebook. It's so helpful for me. It is definitely a practice of discipline because I have to take the time to actually write the notes down. So I do struggle with that a bit, but when I do, like already I've used it to look back at a couple past projects and it's been super helpful. So this is the Ranunculus by Knit Cafe Midori. You guys probably all know about it. It took me a long time to jump on the bandwagon because I'm not typically a person who jumps on bandwagons. Typically I run from them. But I jumped on this one and I have not gotten off of it because I love it and it's enjoyable for me. And oh my gosh, that color is so pretty. This is a color I don't wear very often, but every time I wear it, my husband says, that color looks good on you. I have blue eyes and it brings out the blue in my eyes. So it's just so vibrant and bright that I'm not naturally drawn to it. I don't know. But look at how beautiful. I love that yoke on this sweater. Okay, so let me start. I pulled my other two ranunculi out of the drawer. So I'm going to show you those. This is the first one I knit, and this is definitely a winter version. Okay. This is knit out of Flower Hill Fleece's mohair and a skein of unidentified sock yarn that was sent to me as a gift. So it did not have a tag on it, and it was like a big cake. So it wasn't just a 100 gram skein. It was probably 150 grams, maybe even 200 grams. I never measured it, but I had that, and it's a beautiful color. And then I added the Flower Hill Fleece's mohair, which was a minty green color, and this is what I got, and it's just so beautiful. And again, I love the yoke because it just adds a little bit of a soft, delicate, like interesting texture to it. It's just definitely something that I think is beautiful. Okay, so that's my first one, and that is a long-sleeved version. Again, I knit this before I was taking notes in my journal, but I'm thinking I did not decrease on the sleeves until I got to the bottom, and then I did a really quick decrease. Yeah, and then is this an I-cord edging? I don't know if this is in the pattern or not because I haven't looked that far ahead yet, but it's not a ribbing. It kind of looks like an I-cord. So I don't know if that's how the pattern's written for the long sleeve version or if I just decided to do an I-cord edging. So I'm sorry, I don't remember about that. But yes, so that was my first one. And then the second one I knit, I think I knit this one last year, and this is a short sleeve version. And this is knit in Madeline Tosh something. It was a DK weight, but I cannot remember. Madeline Tosh Vintage, maybe? Yeah. And I did the short sleeve version for this one. It is like a pinky gray color. And again, I just look at that beautiful yoke. I love it. I love it. Okay. And then this is the first one I have knit in a non-wool yarn. And it has been a different experience. Not a bad experience, just a different experience. Mainly, my yoke even though this is a DK weight yarn, my yoke depth was much less deep when I finished it than the other two versions that I made. And I think I know why. I think it's because I'm pretty sure that when I knit these two, I knit. Okay, sorry about that. My husband just walked in. He literally was the only one in the house I didn't tell I was podcasting. I tell everybody usually so they don't walk in the bedroom because I film in my bedroom. He was downstairs in his office working, and normally when he goes down to work, I don't see him until he comes up for his lunch, if even that happens. So I was not really worried about telling Brad that I was podcasting. But so, real life here. I am not a professional. Okay. So anyway, I knit the other two with size 8 or size 9 needles. I'm pretty certain, if I remember correctly. Again, I never kept notes, so I don't know that for certain. The pattern calls for a size 10 needle. I know I didn't use a 10, so I'm pretty sure I used size 8 or 9. With this one, I knitted with a size 6. So I cast on this with a size 5, and I switched over to a size 6 when I came to the body. Now, the reason I did that is because with the cotton yarn, because just the nature of the yarn, it can tend to be, you're not going to see it here because it's such a dark yarn, but like, oh, there we go. See, like you can see through, like you can see my mouth moving through there, right? I did not want something see-through. I did talk about this last week because I remember saying I didn't really want to have to wear anything underneath it. I may have to. I don't know. We'll see when I finish. But so what I ended up doing I did this 6 so that I'd have a tighter gauge on the fabric. And then what I ended up having to do is knit more. So after you do the yoke, you do a raglan increase in the arm area here. And then typically you go right from that raglan increase and you go into the division for the sleeves and the body. But what I did is I just knitted in the round. How many times? 13 times. I knitted in the round 13 times after I finished the raglan increase. So you can, I mean, I just was so afraid that if I didn't do more, then it would be super tight around my arms, like my armpit area. And so I tried this on as I was doing it. Like I just pulled it down over my head, and I was trying, and then I laid it over over this one to see, I wanted to match up the distance from here to the armpit. And so I did a good job. It worked out because once I split for the sleeves, that was going to be like the final judgment. Did I do it enough? Did I do enough on this? And so I split for the sleeves and did a couple of rounds, and then I put this on the cords to try it on, and it fit, and it wasn't too tight under my arms, so it worked out. But it is a really beautiful color, and I had a lot of this yarn. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, I'm so distracted today. There's so much noise going on around me. Like I hear somebody keeps going out onto the front porch, so I'm hearing our squeaky front door, and then Brad walks in on me, and I just feel very distracted. But this is Drops Belle in the Petrol colorway, which is color number 17. Yes. So that is my third Ranunculus. I think that's all I have to say about that one. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about today is contained in this big basket. I haven't talked about this for a long time, guys. Because I haven't worked on it. I haven't had any desire to work on it until recently. And now I am like, I want to get this thing done, or at least work on it a little bit. This is my Dahlia scrap can. Okay, so it's like literally the worst part is done. Well, I don't know about that actually, because I still have lots of ends to weave in. On every single square. But okay, so I forget who the designer is of this crochet pattern, but I will link it down below with everything else. And I started this Afghan last fall, I think, after seeing Annie of Knit and Burls podcast. And she had started one, and then Laura of Back Porch Fiber Co started one. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, I think I need to start one. I think Amber of Maker's Haven started one. So I was seeing it a lot. But it wasn't a bandwagon. Because it wasn't like it had, I don't think it had swept the knitting or crochet internet by storm. So I just really, really liked it. Also, it appealed to me because the way I made it, I used scraps. So real quick, because I have talked about this in the past, but I do want to talk about it for anybody that's new here. You knit this little circle, or you crochet the little circle, and then you do the granny square around it. And what I ended up doing is using fingering weight scraps to make my middle circles. I think I used 3 or 4 strands held together. Let me look here. 3. I used 3 strands held together. Okay. Let me just show you all my various squares. I did keep a consistency with, so I think I have like 4 different middles. There's that one. This one. Is that it? I think those were my 4 colors. Yes, those were my 4 colors. Okay, so that's more than 4. That's 5 different colors. I have 5 different colors of my middle circles. And then for the square around, I bought this Lion brand Wool Ease, and this is the color Linen. This is like a blend of wool. What is it? It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool, so it's machine washable, which all of the scraps I used are also super wash yarns, sock yarns with nylon, because I just cannot bring myself to neither knit or crochet an Afghan that's not super wash. I just don't want to have to worry about having this huge thing to have to hand wash. So I will say that I will probably always make my Afghans with superwash yarn. But I have this big stack now of my squares. Okay. So I definitely have enough. I haven't laid this out yet in like a grid form to make sure that it's squared off or rectangular in shape, perfectly rectangular. Because I originally planned on making this much bigger, and I still might actually do that. I just got tired of it. But now I'm feeling very inspired to work on it. So here is my stack of already finished squares. But then I have all of these middle sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 more middle sections that I can make into squares. I love these colors. Aren't those colors beautiful? That just makes me so happy to look at those colors together. Okay, so I still have this. I still have all of this yarn. And so what I need to do, I need to lay these out into a grid, and I need to see the size of it, and then I need to decide if I'm going to make more or if I'm just going to start stitching these together with the number that I already have. I feel like this is still going to give me a pretty decent sized Afghan if I just go ahead and start stitching them together. The pattern is, you can either get this pattern for free, which will be linked below, and if you get it for free, it does, you have to look on a blog post, and I think, if I remember correctly, it is not just one blog post, like you have multiple blog posts that you she shows you how to do it in steps. So I think the first blog post talks about how to make the middle sections, and then you go on to how to do the granny square around it, and then the third part she tells you how to actually connect all of the squares together. And I'm pretty sure that the way that she does the joining is using like crocheting them together, not doing whip stitches or anything like that, which good, because that would take, I feel like that would just take way more time than just crocheting them together. So I don't know what it is, but I just, for the last couple of days, I have just felt so motivated to work on this and inspired, which is weird because it's summer and it's so hot. So it's not like this is the best time to be working on a big project, but I want to, so I just need to go with it, right? I just need to go with the inspiration and get it stitched together. So hopefully I can work on that a little bit this week. And I mean, I feel like once I start getting these stitched together, it's just going to fly because crocheting is so fast. At least it is for me. I find crocheting much more, I'm not going to say easy. It's just so much more quick. It's quicker. It's quicker than knitting. It goes, projects that I crochet are much faster to finish than knitting projects. So yes, the only thing is I have all these ends to weave in. So what I probably should do, what I really want to do is just start connecting all the squares. But what I feel like my practical side is saying, just start weaving in ends. That way it's easier to like manhandle a small square when you're weaving in ends. If I wait to weave in ends until I have all the squares connected, I'm going to be weaving in ends on a big hot blanket, which I'm not sure that I'll feel like working on that. So practically, I think it would make more sense to weave the ends in and then join all the squares. But I don't know that I feel like being practical right now. I think I maybe should just let what I feel motivated and inspired to do lead me in this particular project, because it's been almost a year of working on this. So it would be nice to get some movement on it and to get to see some progress on it. And it would be even lovelier to finish it. So we will see what happens with that. Okay, so that is what I have to show you guys. And I've really been enjoying that Ranunculus, which I always do. Oh, someone had asked me if that would make a good project for a beginner knitter. And I'm not going to say it wouldn't, but this stitch here, the stitches that you do like right here, these, see how they're kind of like elongated and pulled? Those might be a little tricky for someone who has just learned to knit. However, having said that, I think that if you are motivated to work through any challenges or difficulties that you come upon while you're working on it, and if you're adventurous enough to do that or ambitious enough to do that, I think that you should just try it, even if you haven't knitted a sweater before, because it's not, I'm trying to think back to when I first started knitting, and I think that as long as you're willing to learn things and follow the pattern and what it says and not necessarily question it as far as the stitches, then I think you'll be fine. Yeah, you're not going to know until you try, right? And that's how I face a lot of life. Like, you can only read about things so much before you have to just like jump in and do them and see how it goes and learn from doing, so that's my 2 cents on that. So I wouldn't say that it is a beginner pattern, but I would say that if you are motivated, ambitious enough, you could knit it as a first sweater. Yeah. Okay, so that is all that I have to talk about today, and thank you for joining me. If you haven't already subscribed, that would be lovely for you to do so. You can just hit the subscribe button down below. Also, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed listening to me chat away about knitting and crocheting go ahead and hit the thumbs up, the little thumbs up icon. That also helps a lot. And then I also just wanted to point out that I have a link to a coffee account down below. If you would like to financially support this channel, you can just click through there, and that is much appreciated. It truly is. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and just enjoy your knitting. I hope that you feel really inspired and motivated and in love with whatever you're working on. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.